Joining us now is House Judiciary Committee member, Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. Congressman, your take on this and the state of trade and our relationship with China?
Well, I know a lot of people are upset that, it appears to be breaking down. But I recall the best negotiating that Reagan ever did was when Gorbachev said, get rid of the missile defense and you can have everything else you want. And he got up and left the table. It was the best thing he ever did. It led to a great deal for us and eventually to the demise of the Soviet Union. We're not looking for the demise of China. But I know there are some senators that say we need to pass a bill that would get rid of the tariffs or the ability of the president to threaten tariffs. He is a deal maker, and you know when it's about business, it's good to have a businessman. I was told years ago by a U.S. trade rep, Louis, you got to understand that we know we have the biggest economy in the world, so when we make a trade deal that's better for other countries than us, it really inures to our benefit. Well, garbage. If it's better for them, it's better for them. And we got a guy that knows how to negotiate and uses leverage, in this case, tariff.
Yeah, I can tell you that over in the Pacific after this APEC summit, my sources are saying that it's all been shaken up because I guess Asian tradition goes with process, procedure, and what they know best, right? So with this president shaking things up, it's, you know, some people are calling this a new front, a new Cold War that's taking place between the U.S. and China. Your thoughts?
Well, it's been pretty cool for a long time because China's been stealing our goods, stealing our technology. So the war was going on. It was just a one-sided
Would you call it a Cold War, though? Is that how you would characterize the relationship?
It's a little bit, if not just freezing, it's tepid. It's always been because China is not out to see the United States end up doing well. So only to the extent that they get paid back the money we owe them. So yeah, it's maybe not a Cold War, but a cool war. But it still doesn't mean you can't negotiate, but you've got to use leverage, and I'm thankful we got a president who knows how to make deals.
James Freeman, maybe frosty would be a good word. Continue.
Well, I'm wondering how long it stays frosty. You seem, Congressman, optimistic that there is going to be a deal here. Do you foresee it in the immediate term here, or do you think this goes on for a while?
It's completely up to the Chinese. I see that we will eventually get a deal because the Chinese, they're not stupid. They know that when there is a tariff war, usually neither side of the tariff war wins. But the president should not have the leverage removed. You know, every time he brings up tariffs, he usually has the back door and says, now, if you work out a trade deal with us, then we'll be able to forget about the tariffs. So I think we will get that worked out, and it will be to the United States' benefit instead of continuing to make another deal that hurts us.
Well, how quickly,
that Trans-Pacific trade agreement.
Yeah, no, just really, how quickly can you get the U.S., Mexico, Canada deal approved?
Oh, I think it'll be approved very quickly. That's going to be good. It's better for us than NAFTA. NAFTA. I've got NAPA on the brain. I feel sorry for those folks. They've been through it. But no, I think we'll get it approved very quickly. I don't think it'll be that big of a problem.
I want to move on to the border. Hundreds of Tijuana residents protesting the arrival of thousands of migrants yesterday attempting to enter the United States. This comes as border wall construction will soon begin in southern Texas. Congressman Gohmert, you represent the people of Texas. Your thoughts on this? Do you get more border wall funding in the budget? What do you say?
Well, I said each of the last 2 weeks we were in session in September that, you know, the Trump voters will come out in 2020. They've seen the president do all he could, but they hadn't seen us try to help the president really at all, and that we ought to put money in. If we don't put money in for the president to build a wall before the election, there's a good chance we'll lose the majority. Nobody listened. We lose the majority. The least we can do is get money in there now. And I know that we're working on that, and I've talked to people that we have elected in leadership positions that are trying to make sure we get something done to help the president with the border wall. The best thing we can do for the people of Mexico and Central America is get a wall built where we need it, secure the border, cut off the hundreds of billions of dollars that have flowed for drugs, for human trafficking, for sex trafficking, because once we cut that off, then the corruption in Mexico comes to a crawl, and it becomes one of the top 10 economies in the world. It should have already been if we had nipped the drug cartels, but we haven't done that. This president is going to do it.
So, Congressman, we know that immigration was one of the #1 issues to voters out there. There's been a lot of criticism since the election saying that Republicans use the caravan as a scare tactic to sort of stoke that and make immigration more important and hope that that they, would get into office, and then they've dropped it ever since. How do you respond to that now as the caravan's getting closer and we've got this right in front of us?
Well, I'm just grateful that, the alt-left media like CNN, MSNBC now realize, oh, there really are people. It was not just an election ruse. These people have continued to come, and they are a threat to our sovereignty. If we cannot enforce our borders, then like Woodrow Wilson did, one of my least favorite presidents, when he put 75,000 National Guard on the border after Pancho Villa came in and killed Americans. I mean, this is something we got to do. There were over 70,000 Americans killed last year by the poison that's being sold to us by the drug cartels. This is important. We've got to stop it. We've got to quit enriching the drug cartels. And if we let these folks in, then there's just going to be wave after wave until we can kiss the America we knew goodbye. You have to have people that understand how to keep a self-government, and these folks don't know how to do that.
Although Woodrow Wilson is a fellow Virginian, he's also behind basically the arrival of the income tax in the United States, so that's something to dislike about him as well.
Oh, he's my least favorite, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dagen.
Congressman, no, I want to move on to another topic. Justice Department showdown. President Trump addressing Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker's role in potentially limiting Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe during a Fox News interview yesterday. Listen to this.
It's going to be up to him. I think he's very well aware politically. I think he's astute politically. He's a very smart person, a very respected person. He's going to do what's right. I really believe he's going to do what's right.
This comes as House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes weighed in on what will happen to investigations over FISA abuse allegations when the Democrats take over the House. Here's what he told Maria on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday.
We have 3 buckets of information that we want declassified. We now have a 4th bucket that we want declassified. The president has called for 3 of those 4 to be declassified. This begs an investigation by the Department of Justice. So either the Department of Justice under new leadership can actually go in and investigate these cast of dirty cops, is really what they were, and their connections to the Russians and their connections to the Clinton campaign.
Congressman, your reaction to this, and I just also want to point out that John Roberts is reporting that the president will not be submitting answers to Robert Mueller's team today, those written answers that have been talked about. So your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, I've worked with some of the folks on the Intel Committee, and they're doing all they can. The president got some bad advice in pulling back from declassifying all of the material that was being sought. That stuff needs to come out. And he was told that it's a long, slow process. People that know have told me we could get it done in an hour if we're allowed to do that. And so we've got to get this stuff out. But as far as Matt Whitaker, I mean, Matt's a great guy. He's a great American. He should have protected his boss better from those that work for Rosenstein that have been undermining him. I went over and told Jeff who was undermining him, what they're doing, and went over and talked to Matt. And he did not protect his boss, and now he's in his boss's job. But let me say this real quick, Dagen. You pick a jury. You're not entitled to jurors that have never had an opinion. What you're entitled to is somebody that will be fair going forward and in making appropriate determinations. They're not entitled to a brain-dead acting attorney general. And Matt's doing fine.
Congressman, good to see you. Congressman Louie Gohmert, we'll see you soon.
Good to see you, Dagen. Thank you.
Coming up, Florida.